The statement draws a striking and somewhat uncomfortable parallel between two situations that many men may not immediately connect: encountering a beggar and approaching a woman in search of romantic interest. At its core, the comparison is not meant to humiliate, but to provoke reflection about dignity, intention, and the dynamics of seeking approval. When a man sees a beggar, the instinctive reaction is often avoidance or dismissal. The beggar is perceived as someone asking for something, money, help, attention, without offering anything in return. This creates an imbalance of power and value, where the person being asked feels pressured, uncomfortable, or even irritated. The key issue here is not the act of asking itself, but the perceived lack of mutual exchange and the underlying dependency. Similarly, when a man approaches a woman solely to ask for her phone number, especially without context or genuine connection, the interaction can feel one-sided. If the approach is rooted in seeking validation or approval rather than authentic interest, it may come across as needy or transactional. In such cases, the woman may perceive the interaction not as a meaningful connection, but as an unsolicited request, mirroring, in a social sense, the discomfort one might feel when being asked for money on the street. However, the purpose of this comparison is not to discourage men from approaching women. Human relationships naturally begin with initiative, and there is nothing inherently wrong with expressing interest. The distinction lies in how that interest is communicated. Confidence, respect, and authenticity transform an interaction from a request for approval into an invitation for mutual engagement. A genuine conversation, where both parties feel seen and valued, is fundamentally different from a cold approach driven by desperation or validation seeking. Moreover, the analogy encourages empathy. Just as one might reconsider how they treat someone in need after recognizing shared vulnerability, men can reflect on how their approach might be perceived. Everyone, at some point, seeks acceptance, whether socially, romantically, or professionally. Recognizing this shared human condition can foster more respectful and thoughtful interactions. In conclusion, the statement serves as a reminder about dignity and self-awareness. It challenges men to examine their intentions and to approach others not from a place of neediness, but from a place of self-respect and genuine curiosity. When interactions are grounded in mutual value rather than one-sided seeking, they become more meaningful and far more likely to be successful.
The statement is a clever, if a harsh, analogy that highlights a common dynamic in cold approaching. The street pickup game where a man walks up to a stranger and tries to spark interest, often aiming for a number, date, or more. The analogy's core point. When a beggar approaches you on the street, the interaction is usually one-sided and low value from your perspective. They're seeking something, money, food, attention, without offering clear, immediate value in return. Their energy often comes across as needy, persistent, or entitled to your resources, time. Most people feel discomfort, irritation, or pity, and many chase them away, ignore, walk faster, or dismiss rudely to protect their own space and mood. The claim flips this. A cold approach can mirror that exact dynamic from the woman's viewpoint. You're the one initiating out of nowhere, often with a compliment or opener that signals, "I want something from you." Her attention, validation, contact info. If your vibe, delivery, or framing feels like you're begging for approval, rather than sharing a fun, high-value moment, she experiences the same low-level aversion many feel toward beggars. Rejection, or polite deflection, becomes her way of chasing you away to reclaim her autonomy. It's not saying every approach is begging. It's a warning against the mindset and execution that turns it into one. Desperation leaks through body language, nervous fidgeting, overly eager smile, lingering too long. Word choice. "You're so beautiful, can I have your number?" Or follow-up, pushing after a soft no. Women, especially in public, get bombarded with this. It triggers the same emotional response. This is taking from me without giving enough back.
Why the reflection stings and is often accurate. Scarcity versus abundance. Mindset. A beggar operates from scarcity. They need your coin to survive the day. A man cold approaching from scarcity, outcome dependent, I need this number to feel good about myself, broadcasts the same. High-value interactions feel like abundance. I'm good either way, let's see if we click. The latter is magnetic, the former is repellent. Value exchange. Good street approaches offer something first. Humor, genuine curiosity, a shared observation, strong presence or pre-selection signals. Social proof, good style, confident energy. Beggar-style approaches lead with the ask and weak flattery. It's like handing someone an empty cup instead of a gift. Rejection sensitivity. Men who hate getting dismissed harshly often empathize with beggars getting shooed. The essay suggests self-awareness. If you resent rude rejections, consider how your approach might feel intrusive or low effort to her. Not every woman owes you politeness, just as you don't owe every beggar money. This isn't all men are beggars. Plenty of skilled guys run cold approach successfully by treating it like a mutual adventure, not a transaction. They calibrate, read signals, exit gracefully on disinterest, and don't tie their ego to the outcome. Results improve dramatically when you stop chasing approval and start screening for mutual vibe. A more balanced. Take the analogy as useful for self-improvement but incomplete. Not every rejection means you were begging. Some women are just closed off, in a rush, taken, or not in the mood, regardless of your game. Cold approach has inherent asymmetry. You're interrupting her day. So expect higher rejection rates than apps or social circles. The solution isn't to stop approaching, unless it drains you. It's to level up. Build unshakable inner confidence so one no doesn't sting like failure. Focus on giving value, fun, challenge, or genuine connection rather than extracting a number. Respect boundaries. Persistence after clear disinterest does cross into beggar territory. Work on the rest of your life, fitness, style, social skills, purpose. So approaching becomes a bonus, not your main strategy. In short, don't approach like a beggar if you don't want to be treated like one. Offer something worth her time and attention. Stay detached from the result and move on with dignity when it doesn't land. The reflection isn't about shaming men. It's a mirror for better game and self-respect. Women aren't obligated to say yes any more than you're obligated to give to every panhandler. Mutual respect and honest value exchange beat neediness every time.
This is a provocative and biting analogy. It draws a direct parallel between the economic desperation of a beggar and the social desperation felt by a man in the dating market. To write an essay that approves of or explores this perspective, one must look at the concepts of social value, rejection, and the transactional nature of modern human interaction. The mirror of the street, why the beggar is your reflection. The comparison between a man cold approaching a woman and a beggar asking for change is rooted in a hard truth. Both are asking for a resource from a position of zero leverage. When a beggar approaches a stranger, there is an immediate power dynamic. One person holds the capital, money, and the other holds the need. In the modern dating landscape, especially in the context of cold approaches, the dynamic is often identical. The man is the petitioner, asking for a woman's time, attention, or contact information. Like the beggar, he's hoping for a donation of interest from someone who has no prior obligation to give it. Perhaps the most painful part of being a beggar is being unseen, the way people look through you or speed up their pace to avoid eye contact. For many men, the experience of trying to meet women in public spaces feels exactly the same. They are met with social shields, headphones, focused gazes on phones, or the cold shoulder. To chase away a beggar is to deny their humanity. To harshly reject a man's approach is often felt as a denial of his social viability. Both acts signal to the individual that they are unworthy of the space they occupy. A beggar knows that for every 100 people who walk by, 99 will say no, and one might give a coin. This is the exact black pill logic of the cold approach. It is a high-rejection, low-reward endeavor that can eventually erode a man's sense of self-worth. When you see a beggar, you are seeing a man who has accepted the humiliation of constant no's just for the slim chance of a yes. Every man who has stood on a street corner or in a bar feeling the weight of repeated rejection is, in that moment, spiritually kin to the beggar. The essay's core argument, that we shouldn't chase away the beggar, suggests a call for empathy through shared struggle. Seeing the beggar as a reflection reminds a man that his social status is not permanent. A few bad breaks, a loss of a worthy job, or a total collapse of his social network, and the suitor becomes the supplicant. It is easy for a man who is winning to look down on those who are begging. But if a man understands that his own search for a partner is a form of emotional begging, it humbles him. It forces him to realize that we are all in some way asking the world for things we cannot force it to give us. The beggar and the man cold approaching are both participants in the market of survival. One seeks physical bread, the other seeks emotional bread. Both are vulnerable to the whims of strangers. By refusing to chase away the beggar, a man acknowledges the beggar within himself, the part of him that is hungry for connection and vulnerable to rejection. It is an act of solidarity. To treat the beggar with dignity is to insist that no human being, regardless of what they are asking for, should be treated as a nuisance to be cleared from the sidewalk.